Good evening. 1 second. One second, please. Good evening and welcome to another in our Nav Life series, Navigating Life. I'm Trevor Smith and I will be introducing our presenter this evening. I wanted to share that this series of programs, interventions, have been brought to you by the St. Andrew Church of Christ. And there's some contact information. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But just to get right into it, we want to just have some quick housekeeping. I don't think we need this anymore because everybody by now would know how to navigate through Zoom. So we just ask that if you want to share, you can use the chat at any time. If you want to actually speak, then I'm asking you to raise your hand and be identified by the facilitator. In some instances, we want immediate interaction. In other instances, we want a situation in which the presenter puts out their material and then ask for your feedback. This evening, once again, we're blessed to have Brother Andre Allen Casey facilitate this session. Brother Andre has been a Christian. This thing was written some time now, so it's well over 33 years now. He is a leading counseling psychologist, and he provides powerful information in the church and outside of the church. I have been associated, a friend of Brother Andre for many, many, many years. And I just know that he has a good head on his shoulders. And tonight, you will see some of that. As I say, I'm Trevor Smith. I'm also a member of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. And I assist individuals, teams, and organizations to modify their behaviors to get better results. So I'm going to just say to Brother Andre, take it away right away. Right?
Hello. Thank you very much for the for this opportunity again. We always have to give God thanks for this awesome opportunity to give this, to share such a presentation. Let me just quickly, I am trying to organize my thing here too. Let me see if I can get, how do I do this again? Yes, right, share screen. Here we go.
You can raise the volume a little bit, please, for me again.
All right, let me see something here. Is that better? I hope it is better. Is that any better, Brother Smith? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yes, yes, thanks, yes.
All righty, excellent. All righty. I hope this thing. No, I am having problem with, all right, so here we go, good. No, still didn't work? Yes. Okay. All righty. Guilt. So our subject matter tonight or this evening speaks to the idea of guilt and learning to forgive yourself. I want to spend a lot of time on the learning to forgive yourself more than the aspect of guilt per se. We will be given a definition, of course, but notwithstanding, because tonight is a one-shot method. Yes, I'm working on it being a one-shot method. I must say, I want to really, really give you an opportunity to be empowered by the things that we have to share here and now. But also we want to create another aspect of it where we can get some feedback from you. But before that is done, I'll be presenting maybe about half or so of so I want you to write down your questions, and then we're going to try and answer some of those questions, get some feedback from you, and then of course we try and do the other half, okay? That being said, as far as an introduction is concerned, guilt is an interesting emotion. Why? Because it has the power to cripple us by influencing us to ruminate on our past missteps and mistakes. Notice I use the word missteps now. So it's not even so much where we set out to do it, but hence a misstep. And then of course, we would have also make a grand mistake. Sometimes it is administered by others, and this is where you can say amen. But it's true. And of course, part of the problem is that we spend the rest of our lives trying to convince those persons that administer the guilt that we have changed or plan on living in their shadows. No, that's supposed to be another joke. What do you mean by living in their shadows? Seriously, sometimes we're dealing with some folks who want to keep us back and remind us about what we do and make us feel guilty. I don't know. Maybe we should say to them, would you like me to become your shadow? Maybe that's the only way they will ease up off us, so to speak. Would you like me to become your shadow? Maybe that's what we need to say to some folks. Notwithstanding, the ability to say, I am no longer guilty, it would seem should rather meet everyone else's approval but our own. Yeah, and that's why sometimes we remain guilty, because especially as it relates to the nature of some relationships, we just feel like we must remain guilty for the rest of our lives. And until they ease up off us, so to speak, or until they say, yes, man, I forgive you. They just seem to hold us at bay and hold us ransom for the most part. And so we remain into a state of condemnation, literally, because other folks has not yet approved or granted us approval, so to speak, to say, yes, now you may live your life because I forgive you. Literally. Our goal today is to dispel that myth and to empower you to do what? To forgive yourself. That is what is our goal today. We want to empower you to forgive yourself. Yikes, okay. Let me give you a definition of what guilt speaks to. It is described as a self-conscious emotion that involves negative evaluations of the self. Did you hear that word? Negative evaluations of the self. Feelings of distress and feelings of failure. This is the definition that I'm working with today. You may have a different definition, but this is the one that I invite us to stick to and to work with this one today. So again, once more, it involves what? Negative evaluations of ourselves, feelings of distress, and feelings of failure. Let us be mindful and remind ourselves that this is the definition we're looking at, okay? Now, as a result of feeling guilty, here are some emotions or some, if I can use some signs that we might be suffering from guilt. Anxiety, crying, insomnia, muscle tension, rumination, regret, upset stomach, and worry. if you find that you're going through these things, chances are, I'm not saying in every last area of our lives, I'm just saying especially if all of them come together, maybe we feel guilty about something, and maybe we're not able to put our finger on it per se, but chances are, ladies and gentlemen, we are guilty of something. Now, I'm trying to page down, but this thing just not giving me, here we go. Are there different types of guilt? It is believed that there are 3 different types of guilt that humans experience. Number 1, reactive, and I'm going to talk about each of these. Not going to spend a lot of time there because I want you to have some time to talk back, to share, to write, everything, okay? But reactive, anticipatory, and of course, existential. Now, what do I mean by reactive guilt? Reactive guilt occurs when a person commits an act that, after the fact, strikes them as unkind or as having had a negative impact. So that's the reactive guilt. I have something else to add in relation to this reactive guilt. But again, it occurs when what? When a person commits an act that, after the fact, it strikes them as being, it's like they come to the sense, say, somebody shouldn't do that. Geez, no make a mistake. Or, I can't believe I did it again. I can't believe I repeated the act. And so as a result of that, hence then they can feel guilty, but this is called reactive guilt. The guilt that they feel, of course, is reaction to what they have done. Then, of course, you have what is called the anticipatory guilt. Sometimes they say a part of the anticipatory guilt is where you start to tell a person sorry before you even do it. I know it sounds strange and ridiculous, but it's true. You start to tell the person what, I'm sorry, because you know what you're about to do. Anyways, anticipatory guilt occurs when an individual, watch it now, knows that an act that they are going to commit or are considering committing might have negative outcomes. So they will say something to you like, I'm about to say something to you, and I'm not certain if it's going to hurt you or not, but I'm going to say it. So once you hear them start to make apologies before they say it, chances are they might even, they recognize that they may make a mistake and they may hurt you, and if they hurt you, then therefore they're going to feel guilty. And so sometimes, a lot of times, whenever we have conversations with people, I find, I hear this a lot from a number of folks who have their conversations with me. I'm not talking in necessarily in my profession, but just generally speaking, they say, I don't know, so Andre, I hope I don't hurt your feeling. And of course, whatever them come with, hurt my feeling. Big up yourself. I hope I don't hurt your feeling. So they say it. And yet, the words that come out still gonna hurt your feeling. Then that, folks, is called anticipatory guilt. And after they finish, of course, them feel bad about what them say. But they had an inclination, by the way, that what they were about to say was possibly going to hurt someone. So in another lesson, then I'll have to teach you how to communicate to people. No, seriously, or even how to give people sandwiches so that when you're through having the conversation, you don't feel guilty about the same. You don't feel guilty about the same. Perceiving this in advance of the action's occurrence, the guilt that is felt is anticipatory. And of course, you have the existential guilt. Now, existential guilt now, I think is the worst kind of guilt. And I can explain to you. I think, ladies and gentlemen, is the worst kind of guilt. And here why. Look at this. Existential guilt occurs when a person struggles with who they are, what they are, and their place in the world. And so it doesn't matter. They forever feel guilty. Oftentimes, people with this kind of mindset have low self-esteem. We recognize that low self-esteem oftentimes is associated with this kind of guilt. Don't bother ask me, please, what caused it and where it come from. I mean, I can, but I didn't really prepare to give you that answer, but I'll just shoot from the hip if I have to, but not now. I'm just saying here, it occurs when what a person struggles with who they are, what they are, and their place in the world. And their place in the world. Low self-esteem and other attending personality disorders can emerge as a result of existential guilt. As a result of existential guilt. For example, an example of existential guilt. An adult man may feel guilty about being a man because statistics shows that many women are physically harmed by men every year. Though this man has never physically harmed another person, let alone a woman, he feels what? Existential guilt because he's a part of the guilty group. So he said, why? We know say, you know, so if everybody say men are and they associate men with a particular animal, then, you know, whenever that man is having a conversation with anybody, it's like he starts to apologize for his own maleness. Talking about maleness, by the way, you know, I was invited to come on a particular media to speak about is what? Is it maleness? No, still valuable or valid is something to the idea of is still maleness, still valid or something like that. And I was like, what? And the thing is, no, I can understand why people start. I'm serious, you know. Just earlier this week, I was supposed to come and have a conversation about that. And I spoke back to the producer and I said, I'm having a challenge even with that question. And that's why I didn't come on. But I had a challenge with the question because I was saying, huh? Where do we come off starting to question? You know, can you imagine I put something out there and said, is femininity still valuable or necessary? Huh? Everybody would stone me. I'm a type of guy, I would stone myself. And I'm just saying to you. So why are we trying now to change masculinity? I think the word was masculinity. Why are we trying to change masculinity? That was the word. You know, is masculinity still valuable or valid? Something to that effect. And I'm like, of course it is. Just like in no ways you're going to question femininity. In no ways you should be questioning masculinity. Okay? That's because that it is still so. So can you imagine? And when you look at what is happening in our society today, don't you see that even those two are coming under attack? That we can't even identify or promote our own gender. We can't even promote our own gender. Like, whoa. And I'm saying, I don't know, folks. I don't know. That's a little bit, herein lies a challenge. Herein lies a challenge. And I'm saying, with what is going on into the world, the world can guilt us in having, because we believe in our own gender. The world can guilt us because we believe in our own gender. And therefore create what is called existential guilt. Existential guilt. So this is a real thing that is occurring in our world and our society today. Okay? Now, learning to forgive yourself. Let's say we have experienced these three different types of guilt. Okay? Reactive, anticipatory, and existential. Okay? What are we going to do? Should we become a victim? Should we remain in the shadows? To go back to my introduction. Should I remain in the shadows of people? Should I allow what others think about me and say about me and remind me of my own belief that I have in myself and starting to cause me to question those beliefs that I have about myself. Is it okay now for me to start becoming guilty? And I'm saying absolutely not. I'm saying yes, and I'm saying no. I'm saying there is a process that I want to invite us to execute. And hence the latter part of our conversation and discussion, learning to do what? To forgive ourselves. Because yes. So now let's get into it. Let's get into learning to forgive ourselves. But before we do that, guilt management is what I want to call it. Learning to forgive yourself. But before I do that, with all of that I have said, let me give you an opportunity now to either ask me some questions or to make some comments. You literally only have 2 minutes to do so. So quickly, go ahead. Comments or questions?
Good night. This is Carolyn. Hi.
Hi.
I suppose this would also apply to, well, I guess it might be different. What happens when people make you feel guilty? How to correct or deflect or resist?
Definitely. And I want to look into that, or possibly look into how we can do something about that. Excellent. Thanks much. I see a raised hand here. Go ahead, please.
The guilt factor, the intensity of the guilt, would that be also dependent on your culture, your self-assertiveness, or how you allow others to validate you?
All of the above. I hope I understood your question, but all of the above. Yeah, I think all of those factors contribute to how you rise above it, for that matter. All of the above. Excellent.
Thank you.
Another raised hand, go ahead.
All right, Andre.
Yes, go ahead.
So when you mention that guilt cripples you, I thought about fear. Is part of that linked to fear? Fear of how people see you, fear of how you see yourself. Could that be the crippling factor?
Could be, and therefore promotes the feeling of distress, the feeling of lonesomeness, the feeling of I'm alone, nobody cares about me, the feeling of I need validation. A host of different feelings can occur as a result of that. Definitely. Okay, we have 2 more hands. No, here's a comment here was from Katie. She says, what you said about promoting gender, so true. The world is trying to change even the simple definition of male and female. Noted. That's my response to Katie. Go ahead. I see some more raised hand. Go ahead, please. I'm not certain in what order.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Mr. Allen Casey. It's Katie. You read my comment. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks much. Okay. Yes.
I think you responded to the senator already.
Okay. Okay. 2 more raised hands. Go ahead, please.
Charity.
Yeah. You can identify them from up, Mr. Brother Smith.
Oh, you said Sarah Shea. Good night. I'm actually Sarita Simpson. Hi, Andre. How are you?
I am doing very well. Thank you.
I am very happy about this session because I am going through guilt at this point, and I'm not sure if it's all of the above, but I know that hopefully you are going to get to the point where you help me to deal with what I'm feeling right now.
Okay.
But yeah, So I'm happy that you invited me to this session because I really needed to hear what you're saying today.
Okay, thank you very much. I will do my best.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Can we take one more? Yes, no, maybe so. All righty. With that, I'm going to continue. Guilt management, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I must admit, let me go ahead and tell you, this is my list. Is I create this list and everything right here. So as I create it, I comment everything, me. So you don't have anybody to blame but me, and I will take it. It does not mean, however, that it is a comprehensive list. I do believe that you can go and do your own research on the internet, and it would have much better information than what I have supplied here. But I just put this together, literally. I say again, write what I think. And that's what I did, okay? All righty. So you can please, I guess what I'm also saying, you can please add to this. Yes, I welcome you adding to this, okay? So it's not a comprehensive list. I guess that's why I'm making that comment or that disclaimer. So don't get mad. That's the first thing you must do. In helping to forgive yourself and managing your guilt. Okay, don't get mad. Don't make matters worse. Okay, literally, nothing is wrong in asking the person. And again, sound like again contradict myself, but I'm not. I can explain what I'm saying here in everything. But just work with me right now. In other words, don't blame or try to justify or rationalize the situation so as to make you become the victim. Because, well, you already feel like you're the victim, but you don't want to feel further victimized. So maybe I should have to become further victimized. Maybe that I should have it there. So I need to write that in. Okay, to feel what further victimized. Because sometimes, you know, the first thing we want to do is to try to understand if I should even feel guilty. And I'm saying, yes, nothing is wrong, but you have to be careful that you don't try to balance it out, at least not yet, you know, at minimum. And I'm going through a process here, and I want to believe that each step is the next step, but you can tell me after I'm through which step you think should go before that one. Okay, you can tell me. Or you can just rearrange it if you think it works better for you. That's okay. Seriously, that's okay. But the first step I would want to employ here is that we don't get mad. Don't make matters worse. Just recognize what has happened. Don't try to blame, justify, rationalize. Don't do that. Just literally plan to take responsibility for what you did and for how it made you feel. Don't try to do any kind of compromising or anything like that. Just recognize that this is where things are at this point in time. And while you're doing that also, if you plan on asking for forgiveness, do not make excuses. What do I mean by that? Do not get into the habit of explaining why you did it. That's what I mean by don't rationalize and don't try to justify. Don't get into the habit of saying, I want you to understand why I did it. Then what the guilt is supposed to be doing to you, it's not going to get to do it to you. Because a matter of fact, it's no longer guilt. You change the definition of guilt. And why so? Because when you finish pulling it apart, then really and truly, is the other person need to come apologize to you. And I'm just kind of saying here, folks, that the first thing, don't get mad. You know, just operate, just allow the guilt to have its place. Literally, you heard me, allow the guilt to have its place. To have its place. That's the first thing. Number two, well, see there, allow the guilt to have its place. Feel badly. That's not a way, but it's true, feel badly. It is one thing to feel badly about something that you did or thought about that you should not have done or entertained, but don't make it worse by stifling your conscience. Okay? Feel badly, say, wow. Don't say it's not so bad after all. No, feel badly. You know, feel bad. Yeah, man. Acknowledge how you feel. That's the part of the healing process, you know, folks. Acknowledging how you feel. Say, you know something, I feel bad about what I did. Yeah. Name it, call it out, announce it, verbalize it, hear yourself say it. And that's why even that's why even how you communicate to the person now, or you know, you say, hey, you know, I'm sorry for what happened and for what I did. I am. Okay? We're not trying to cover it up and to suppress it. No, we're saying we are acknowledging the feelings that we are having. Allow yourself to feel the hurt and pain and resolve in your heart to do better. Now, that is where you start to heal now, you know, folks. Because you're resolving in your heart to feel better. You go, yeah, I did this. But I did this, I did that, I did this. And it was wrong. I succumbed to this. I should not have. I am reacting to. One is I anticipated and although I anticipated, I still went ahead and know I feel bad. And I know I shouldn't do it. Or, you know, I keep on doing the same thing over and over. Jeez and peas and man. So because I keep on doing it over and over, chances are that might find itself in existential guilt, because now I am starting to relabel myself. I'm starting to do what, ladies and gentlemen, relabel myself. I'm starting to say, so hold on a minute. So I am, you know, everybody used to say me a thief. Everybody used to say me worthless. Everybody used to. And now you're starting to believe it, because now your actions is reinforcing what other people used to say about yourself, or even what you believe about yourself. And so we have to be very, very careful here that on one hand, we must feel bad, but the question is, do we plan to do better? You see, sometimes the reason why the existential can find its way dominating our thinking and our livelihood, it is because we have not resolved that we're going to do something differently. We have not done that. We need to say, you know, something, although I feel bad, again, do something about it. I'm going to do something about it. I don't care about how often I've done this and even what people say to me and about me. No, I am going to do something about it. That's how we are going to ensure that it doesn't become existential guilt. Okay? Reverse the roles. Reverse the roles. And again, after go through a couple more of these, I'm going to stop and give you a chance to talk back to me, and then we'll give you some more. But reverse the roles. And what do I mean by that? Ask yourself, how would you want to be treated? You know, oftentimes we may not know how to treat ourselves, but most persons would welcome mercy and compassion. Generally speaking, most persons would what? Would welcome mercy and compassion. That being said, if you would prefer to be treated with kindness, then allow yourself to get it and don't let pride stop it. Allow yourself to what? To get it and don't let pride stop it. Allow yourself to get it, folks. Say, you know something, wow, how would I like to be treated? How would I like to be treated? And so, if it was on the other side of the foot, where somebody felt guilty and you had the opportunity to treat them a particular way, what would you like to hear from them? And if you would like for them to give you mercy and compassion, then all I'm saying to you now, ladies and gentlemen, don't wait for it to come from them. Start, give it to yourself. You can say amen. All I did was to reverse the roles. I said, hold on a minute. If somebody felt guilty, what could I do to help them to overcome that guilt? And if you said I could approach them this way, I could say, don't worry about it. I could behave like the father of the prodigal son, put on a big shing-ding, and welcome back the person, and don't make guilt kill him, or even remind him of the wrong that he did. But the father could have said to him, say, I hope you learn your lesson, boy. I hope you learn your lesson. But he didn't. There doesn't seem to be any conversation like that, of that nature. And so all I'm just kind of saying, if that's the way you would have wanted to be treated, or you would have treated someone else, I am saying, take that treatment for yourself. Don't wait for it to come, because sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we wait with bated breath, hoping that some kind of compassion and mercy will be extended to us. We feel bad enough, but each time when we just look on the person in face and their demeanor and behavior towards us, you can see that they're not ready to forgive us. And so we continue to feel bad or feel badly about what we have done, just because of how they have chosen to respond to us, or even how we are perceiving their mannerisms. And so I'm just kind of saying here, do the role reversal, and then say to yourself, okay, then you know what? Yeah, man. I'm going to start accept mercy and compassion. Not necessarily from you, but I'm going to accept it for myself. I'm going to start to accept these things for myself, because these things would make me feel better if it came from you. If it came from you. But not only that, I'm saying here, break yourself free from guilt and allow yourself to experience forgiveness. Because sometimes, folks, sometimes even people want to forgive us, and we keep on bring up back the wrong we did. Sometimes, so whenever we're going to have a conversation with folks, the first thing we start off with, first, we're timid. We are so timid. Years passed, years gone, and we're still saying, I hope you forgive me. You still forgive me? Ladies and gentlemen, you don't need to have that conversation any further. You don't need to be having that conversation any further. Suppose the person said no, then it means that you remain in chains. If them say no, I'm just saying here, folks, sometimes if you're going to put yourself in a position to get mercy and compassion, then your conversation changes. Okay? Your conversation changes. You no longer keep saying, I hope you forgive me. I hope you forgive me. Did I tell you so already? I know I probably said it 100 times. You forgive me though? I still feel bad about it, I still feel bad about it. Is you are put back yourself in a chain. Worse if the person said to you, why don't you let this go? Worse if the person says to you, why don't you let this go? Is you putting yourself in chains now. Not the person who felt hurt possibly by what you did. Okay? Okay, here's the next big one. According to Brother Smith, again, get myself in problem with this one here. But watch this, ladies and gentlemen. And again, after this, again, break and give you a chance to talk back to me. Don't look for sympathy. Yeah, man, sometimes you have to hug up yourself. Yeah, man, you have to hug up yourself. Don't look for sympathy. Be open to take it, but don't plan on depending on it. Talking about sympathy. Be open to take it, but don't plan on what? Depending on it. Sometimes we depend on being forgiven in order to forgive ourselves. That's not a good formula. That is, you heard me again, say it again, that is not a good formula to forgive yourself. Because some people, and I have it there too, I hope I don't, and I can't deal with it just yet, but some people, believe you me, they want to see you in a pain for the rest of your life. But we're not ready to talk about that one as yet. But all I'm just saying here, because the process we're going through, you know, we're taking it step by step by step. And we're saying here now, when you, after, so watch this, stay with me now. I'm saying, when you decide not to get mad, you get nothing wrong, you ask for forgiveness. The next thing you do, you feel bad about how you do, about what happened. Feel bad. It hurt you, what have you. Deal with the pain that you're doing, that you're going through. Don't try to rationalize it or bury it, or even to pass it on to someone else. Or to say it's because of you, why I had to do this, or I did that. Okay, don't do that. After you feel badly, reverse the roles. Reverse the roles here now means what? What kind of response you would want from somebody that you may have hurt? What kind of behavior you would want from them? And I'm saying the mercy and compassion are the two things that you would have wanted, then start to take it for yourself. Don't wait for you to get it before you start to take it. Feed yourself what? Mercy and compassion. You know, say certain things to yourself. Say, you know, have that conversation with yourself that says, you know, I did wrong, but especially considering that I have made amendments. I said I was sorry. I have changed my action. I have changed my interpretation. I am taking responsibility for my consequences. And now I'm ready to move forward. That is the kind of conversation you need to have with yourself, you know, so that it will allow you to give yourself, to have mercy and compassion, for you to have mercy and compassion for yourself. That's right. And say, okay, so you know what? I forgive you. I forgive you, Andre. Andre, you forgive me? Yes, man. Yeah, man. Talk to yourself like in the third person. Talk about yourself in the third person. Look into the mirror and have that conversation with yourself so that it would allow you. Look at how it evokes a particular expression on your face. That's why I invite you to look into the mirror and smile when you say, I want compassion and mercy. Don't frown up your face. Smile when you look into the mirror to do just that. And of course, what we are saying here, don't necessarily be open to take sympathy, but do not depend on it. Why? Because sometimes we depend on being forgiven in order to forgive ourselves. And we're saying that we're saying do not do so. Why so? Because what if we are not forgiven? Should we remain in despair and broken? Absolutely not. Forgiving me should not depend on you. Forgiving me should not depend on you. That's right. And maybe that's the mistake we make. We feel that in order for me to forgive me, I have to hear from you. And I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, stop give people that amount of power over you. Because it can cripple you and make you can't move and literally have to wait and operate in their shadows and wait until them say, all right, and release you and take the padlock off of your foot, so to speak. I'm saying free yourself. Free yourself from mental slavery. That's a form of mental slavery. Now, correct your downfall or live with it. We're going to stop right here before we get into this one and get some feedback from you first and foremost. Yes, we have time. Go ahead. See some raised hand. Go ahead. You can identify them for me, please, Brother Smith. I'll just put them in a queue. Go ahead. Should I identify the chat first? Let me see. Okay.
Senator first.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Andre, no, the conversation that we have with ourselves, right? I think one of them should be, what would we, this is a different kind of role playing, a role reversal. Because a lot of times we tend not to forgive ourselves, because if somebody done that to us, we're gonna have a problem forgiving them. So it's a conversation we're gonna have with ourselves to do a role reversal, to say, well, what if somebody did that to me? How would I forgive the person? Because I think that's where a lot of the problem is, because we tend not to release it because it is so bad. We think of it so bad because if somebody did it to us, we'd have a serious problem forgiving that person. And then it shows that really we haven't really started living yet, because we still have a problem forgiving people, and thus it plays with ourselves, because we have a problem forgiving ourselves.
Excellent.
So it's something to look into ourselves as well.
Excellent point. That's my response to that. Excellent point. Somebody else. Who's next?
Alison.
Okay.
Hi,
Then Martin.
everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
I think what I wanted to touch on was, similar to what Senator said about having that self-talk with ourselves. And the point that you made very early on about existential or guilt being tied to our self-worth, right? And if we don't manage that self-worth, if we don't manage that self-talk, we may find ourselves, for example, trying to bend over backwards to the person that we offended, because we think we have to pay some sort of penance before they can even entertain the idea of forgiving us. So I think that is very important for us to really examine how we really view ourselves, and, as Senator said, the things that happen to us, in order to really have a healthy relationship with offending others, because it's bound to happen, and moving on from those instances.
Excellent again. Excellent. Maybe I should come off and make you all talk. Sorry, but seriously, excellent. Next.
What I'm gathering, sir, is that it's an unloading of the thoughts and the mind, the self. It's becoming bare with oneself, which means you're going to be honest. You're going to be clean. You're going to hide nothing. It's a third person reasoning. And therefore, then you are prepared to recognize that you are shedding all these baggages. You are bearing yourself open for yourself, and just to have a clean mind, a clean new you.
Excellent. Excellent. Clean new you is where, and so now you are no thank you, sorry. You're closing the ears off. And we have that one to talk about, silencing your critics. We have that one to talk about too. But literally, you decide is how you now approve of you. Is where you plan to go from this, from right here. And as against feeling like I still have to satisfy you. I'm having that conversation with myself into the mirror. Excellent, wonderful. Couldn't have said it better. Tanik, and then that's a funny name, I can't pronounce it. Go ahead, Tanik.
Thank you, Brother Andrea, Casey, good one. Now, I believe that the first three verses summed up what I was about to say. And I want to just bring it back to say that one of the things about guilt and managing it is really understanding, and you said it earlier, understanding where it really comes from. And many times we don't understand where our guilt comes from. We're not able to really identify because we're so not self-aware. And that's one of the things in identifying our guilt, is becoming self-aware and having even that emotional intelligence, developing that emotional intelligence as well. So when we speak to others, so that we don't, and I think Senator said, you know, having that self-talk, because oftentimes again, we project on others what is inside of us.
Excellent.
So that's my share for tonight. Thank you, brother.
Excellent. Excellent. Go ahead, next.
Good night again. Like I said, this was a personal one for me, and I am going through guilt. In fact, I'm going through all the signs that you mentioned earlier, the insomnia, the anxiety, the crying, all of that. But my situation is that I was first hurt by somebody, and then I reacted to the hurt in a very bad way. And as I said, reaction, because I didn't think through the action. And so I'm guilty. I'm feeling guilty for taking, for operating like that. Also, not only am I feeling guilty for reacting like that, the person who hurt me is now using my reaction against me. So instead of apologizing for hurting me in the first place, they are now using my reaction against me. So I'm happy that you said I need to forgive myself and not necessarily wait for an apology from them in order to heal and move on from the guilt.
Thank you very much. Excellent. 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 All right, one more, and then I can continue. Go ahead, sir.
It is like restorative justice to yourself. That way approach restorative justice to oneself.
That's right. That's correct. That is correct. All righty. That being said, let us deal with let us continue. We might even finish early today. Yippee! But watch this now. Correct your downfall or live with it. You heard me, ladies and gentlemen. Correct your downfall. This thing, here we go. Correct your downfall or live with it. Now, every effort must be made to right our wrongs or make adjustments to ensure that we do not make the same mistakes the second time around. Should be we, for sure. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, there are some choices that brings with it lasting consequences. And as a result of that, here's what we have to do. We need to accept it. That's right. We need to accept the consequences, because the sooner we accept it, the less we will live the rest of our lives in regret of it. We have to recognize that, you know something, I am sorry that I reacted to this. And as a result of my reaction, this is the punishment that I'm getting. This is how I make you feel towards me. I would prefer that you don't feel this way. I really would like that you don't feel this way. But guess what happened? I am not going to frustrate myself to get you to feel better about me. Write that down. I am not going to what? Frustrate myself to get you to feel better about me. No, man. See, that is, that's the classical case of somebody being gaslighted. That is a classical case of somebody being gaslighted. And so they have to frustrate themselves to get you to forgive them so that they can function. Classic. And so I'm just kind of saying here, we have to sometimes recognize that, okay, I would have preferred that the relationship continues down a particular pathway rather than where it is right now. But you know something? That this is where it is. This is where you are. Maybe you would Maybe God is going to grant you repentance, that you're going to come to a knowledge of the truth. Okay? Rather than being so bitter. Maybe, because remember now, you know, even the person, what you need to understand, you know, the person who keeps you into a place where they remain bitter and want you to feel guilty, they can't quote the Lord's Prayer. That's why they want to get rid of God. They can't quote the Lord's Prayer now, because a part of the Lord's Prayer says you must what? You must be willing to forgive so that you will be forgiven. Boom. And I'm just kind of saying here, so they are putting themselves into a bad relationship with God if they continue to make you feel badly about what you have done. And they are not prepared to forgive you. No, that's on them. Don't go take on that for them war. You feel bad enough already. You have to work on recovering. You have to work on moving past this. And if there are some things that has lasting consequences, that it might lie in a jail. Not even a jail, you must feel guilty anymore. You heard me, ladies and gentlemen. All if you're in a jail and you get life sentence because of what you did, you have to move on in a jail. That's right. Because whining and pining is not going to undo something that you have done, especially if you're not in a position to undo it, especially if you're not in a position to do it. If you're in a position, I invite you to do it. If not, then remember you may have to learn to live with your consequences. Next, don't lie to yourself. Again, I hope this is according to that structure. You may decide that hey, you know, I can flip this one or put this one right here and right there. Fine, but this is my structure. You can fix it to suit you, but don't lie to yourself. And what do I mean by that? Again, don't rationalize your wrongdoing. Take responsibility for what you did and accept the consequences. Don't lie to yourself. You know, say, hey, yes, I did wrong. Don't concentrate on what the person did from what they didn't do. And no. Don't even go down that road. So you heard me, and I hope I'm talking to somebody or everybody, but do not lie to yourself. Don't even, before, it's not time to hush yourself yet. You heard me? It's not time to what? Hush yourself yet. Right now, you want to acknowledge, yes, I did that. I did wrong. Acknowledge it. I was wrong, I did wrong. I reacted when a way that I should not have. Take responsibility for that. Do not get into it's because of you, why me? If you never did, I wouldn't have to. Don't get into that conversation with yourself. Just recognize that, did you do wrong, yes or no? It's like when God went to Adam and Eve and said to them, what did you do? He said, notice them started off with one bag of excuse. I am saying, nobody will go there, sir. Just recognize that, hey, you tell me someone mustn't do it and I did it, I am wrong and I'm sorry. Full stop. Once you go there, you're on the pathway to heal. Once you start to rationalize and justify and all those things, you're not on the pathway to heal, ladies and gentlemen. I am saying, do not lie to yourself. Not only that, it is a lot more difficult to forgive yourself if you are not being honest with where you went or what you did wrong. Say it again, Andre. It is a lot more what? Difficult to forgive yourself if you are not being honest with where you went or did wrong. And so you have to take responsibility for what you did. That being said, watch this big one now. That's right. Write this one down. Don't tell a lie on yourself. So one is don't lie to yourself, and next thing, don't tell a lie on yourself. And therefore set you further than where you should be. Because sometimes you see, that's when the existential start to set you know, where you start to believe the lie. And say, maybe I keep it, you know. He just says, I'm always do this, I'm always do that. Hey, maybe. And I'm saying, don't tell a lie on yourself. Don't tell a lie on yourself, because once you start to believe that you are this worst person, then chances are everything about your action is going to reflect the same. So we're kind of saying here, folks, it is one thing that you take responsibility, but on the other side of the coin, we're saying what? Do not tell a lie on yourself. If you did wrong, accept this, but don't make it worse by saying, and maybe if I didn't do this, maybe maybe I should have, and maybe I'm one bag of maybes, and just making the matter even worse, and you not even giving yourself a chance to heal from your pain. Okay, alrighty. Silence your critics. Can look at the time. Yes, we have time. Silence your critics. Ladies and gentlemen, stop letting others guilt you. There are some folks that unfortunately will not let up on what you did and will make it their lifelong journey to remind you and others of your indiscretion or indiscretions. Yes, a whole heap of them people they are around. Seriously, right? I hope nobody is on this platform. You must laugh. Anyways, I am just kind of saying here, but the truth be told, there are some folks that will not let up, man. Mercy every time them see you. You think me forgiving, not true? Listen, no matter come behave and come go on like some forgive you, okay? Or may your friend now? Or come here talk to me like may your friend now? May your friend now? Listen. Familiarity breed contempt. Rumpet puppy dog told and lick him out. I mean, they give themselves enough reasons to either to keep their distance or to exercise what is called limited forgiveness or detached forgiveness. Or there's another one. Limited forgiveness, detached forgiveness, conditional forgiveness. And they are not prepared to exercise or execute full forgiveness. And I'm just saying, folks, ladies and gentlemen, hey, silence them, okay? Recognize what they're doing and what they're up to, but you have a responsibility to manage your life going forward. Don't become their opinions or allow them to make you resentful and bitter. Because sometimes, because our guilt can turn into resentment and bitterness. We're sometimes the same. We're guilty, or we feel bad, but the way we announce how we feel, is pregnant with resentment and bitterness. The way we announce even the guilt that we experience. We said so sometimes we for example, don't become the opinions. Somebody we say, amen, absolutely right. Don't become the opinions. And the way we are exaggerating this point, don't become their opinions, is really a reflection of our resentment and bitterness. It's really a reflection of what? Our resentment and bitterness. And I'm kind of just saying here, be careful that you do not become the very thing that you don't like from in somebody else or from someone else. Put into action your ability, watch this. Put into action your ability to what? To do, then stamp on you approved. Put into action your ability to do what? To do the right thing. To right your wrong. Put into action your ability to do the right thing, to behave the right way, to not have resentment, to be at peace, to turn around and forgive, to not only forgive yourself, but forgive them, and even understand where they are, understand their context and where they are, and don't hold it against them in the same way they were willing to hold it against you. Don't become them. So put into action your ability to do the right thing. Then stamp on yourself what? Approved. I think I'm going to think maybe let me just finish it and then give you a chance to talk back to me. Hush yourself. Soon finish. Hush yourself. Let me say soon. Give me soon finish. Hush yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Pick yourself off the ground, man. Don't just give yourself a chance to heal. Plan on healing and don't take too long to do it. You know what? Let me stop. Give you let me say we have time. We have time? Do we have time? Yes. But we only can spend 5 minutes for some responses before I talk through Unhush Yourself. Let me wait on Hush Yourself. But I know, because I know that these 2 or 3 that I did, silencing your critics, don't lie to yourself, and correct your downfall or live with it, I'm certain that I possibly have some responses. But remember, we can only spend 5 minutes. So if you get so in your comments, just be very, very short. Go ahead, please.
Right, Brother Andre, this is powerful stuff. Want to look at it as well from the internal, that it might not be someone that the issue is with, but with myself, and all of the things still apply. In other words, we could be our worst critic, so we have to look at that there are many situations in which we find it challenging to forgive ourselves for something that we have done. So it's not that we are waiting on others, we're really waiting on ourselves. And so all of the steps that you have taken apply fully, because like even the first one, like, don't get mad. What happens is that when we do something that we really didn't want to do, we get angry and we really make a big thing about it. If we understand how the subconscious works, is that then what that does is that it brings it up higher, a higher level of consciousness, so that it is likely then to come, more quickly to the fore. So that's one of the things. I want us, as we're looking at it, that is not only that we have an issue with someone and there's a guilt in relation to interpersonal, but also intra ourselves. And so this is powerful stuff. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Go ahead, Senator.
All right, so I feel guilty for calling myself a senator. So you made mention of it, Andre, and there's a term for it. It's cognitive dissonance. That we tell lies to ourselves so much that we start to believe it. And the scripture kind of bear it out in terms of the conscience seared with a hot iron. But you cannot deny the wisdom of the teaching of Jesus, tying forgiveness, tying your forgiveness with your forgiveness of others, and some of those others include yourself. So it just shows you that you can't really lie. Don't lie to yourself, really, because it's either the truth or it's not, and nothing else is going to set you free. So it's not shadow boxing. You're not doing it for sure. You have to search inside. You have to search within and make some conscious decision concerning your health, because it's going to affect your health too. So,
excellent. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Yes, hi. I just want to encourage the person that said that she was going through some stuff. Depending on the situation, I mean, for me, getting out of a toxic relationship, the person that's guilting you, it can continue and continue and continue. For years, I mean, I was told stuff of things I did, which I didn't even know that I was doing something wrong. And then till I almost began to believe or to think, did I really do this thing? And then you have to be so careful you don't become their opinion. So, and then all in all, then you don't want to become resentful or bitter yourself, because then it's like you're being poisoned. So it's very freeing when you can come into your own and know that you're not perfect, and know that, okay, well, you might have not done it the whole thing perfectly, but at the same time, you can't blame yourself forever and ever. You know, you have to be gentle, be kind to yourself, and tell yourself that you are worth more than this person is putting on you. So it's very freeing when you can come to that realization. Don't let others guilt you.
Excellent. Katie?
Hi, everybody. And I just wanted to add to that comment for the person who is going through something right now. I'm just sending you love and hugs. But, you know, whatever it is that happened, whatever it is that you did and you're feeling guilty for, you have moved on. You're looking forward now. Don't live in the past. Allow yourself that sort of freedom to move on. Because when we're driving, we only glance in the rearview mirror, the windshield is so much bigger. So you have to just try to look forward. It's really hard. You know, everybody has been in a situation where it wasn't right for them, but I'm just sending you love, and just hug up yourself, forgive yourself, and just blessings to you.
Thank you very much, Katie. Go ahead.
Thank you both. Thank you both for the comments, because I really feel fragmented, and I'm feeling fragmented because hurt is real and guilt is real, and sometimes we know that that's what the person is doing. They're trying to guilt us, but we still fall prey to it, and then you ruminate, and ruminating is really not good for your mental health. So I really, really appreciate the love and the support. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Okay, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Excellent, excellent. This is so good. Wow. I mean, not what I'm sharing. I'm just talking about your responses. Seriously. No, the next point is hush yourself. Yeah, man, pick yourself up off the ground, man. You know, don't just give yourself a chance to heal. Plan on healing, and don't take too long. You heard me, ladies and gentlemen. Don't take too long. I mean, how long you want to stay in a pain? No, seriously. Sometimes you have to ask yourself some questions. You know, how long do I want to stay in pain? By the way, you know, and sometimes if we say, yeah, but it is easier said than done. All right. Let's even go there. It's easier said than done. But you don't you say you're still in a pain? I'm saying you're still in pain. We have to now devise a mechanism that's going to take us out of it, you know. Because no matter what we say to ourselves, no matter how much justification for the pain that we are experiencing, is one or two things. It's either we're going to take ourselves out of it or learn to live with it. If we're going to learn to live with it, then we even psychologically have to heal ourselves from that. Psychologically, we have to heal ourselves from that, because failure to do so is going to bring us harm. You know, this is not a good way to look at it. It's not a good way. Remember I said it's not a good way. But when you bring yourself harm, do you think the person who tried to guilt you or what have you is going to feel sorry for you? Absolutely not. I'm saying it's not a good way to look at it, but absolutely not. The reality is that they think they're going to say, oh my sorry, someone come down so hard. No. Chances are they might press even harder. So I'm saying, listen, let's take with the power from them and repower and empower ourselves. Just saying, okay? Hush yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Your daily goal is to relieve yourself of pain and not waiting for the pain to leave you. What is the goal? Daily goal? That's right, every day. Every day. Your goal is to do what? Relieve yourself of pain and not wait. Because sometimes it's like, you know, sometimes, and I'm not hitting prayer. Absolutely, I'm a Christian, so I cannot be hitting prayer. but a whole heap of we pray and not do nothing. And then, because, so the Bible says faith without works is dead enough. So we pray, but don't do nothing. And then when we're not getting the attending result now, we turn on and blame God. No, man. My argument is you make certain you're in a relationship with God so you can pray to him, number one. And number two, you make certain you do something about what you're asking God to do for you. You do something about what you want God to do for you. You start acting as if to say, God, answer your prayer. That's right. You start what? And that's a quote from Trevor Smith. You start acting as if to say what? God is going to answer your prayer in the right way. Act the way there, I'm buck up on Intel, you know. Act that way, ladies and gentlemen, and then buck up and say, all right then, so maybe and this then, all right then. All I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we need to start with. So support is good, but supporting you is better. And so pick yourself up, look into the mirror and compliment yourself on a daily basis. That's how you go about to hush yourself. Next, we're gonna finish off this and give you a chance to ask some questions. I'll close off with some questions or comments. Talk to yourself by asking yourself some questions. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, forget the mistake. Remember the lesson. The goal is to what? Forget the mistake. Remember the lesson. Our problem is that, boy, we remember the mistake and don't get the lesson. But ask yourself some questions. So we'll finish to give you a chance to ask the question. Do I want to feel this way again? That's the first question. Do I want to feel this way again? And if your answer is no, then let us try to do something about it. The next question we want to ask ourselves, do I want to subject myself to feeling defeated, dejected, and down? Do I want to subject myself to that? And if your answer again is no, then we are saying, all right, then, so I don't want this, I don't want that. Then what next? Another question though, do I want to allow people to embarrass me again? Ask yourself these questions. And if the answer is no, then all right, then it's time for me to do something about it. Even if it feels like it is existential, that's what I'm saying. So sometimes we are fighting against even our own belief system, and I agree, yes, but I'm saying this is what you can also do about it. Don't go labeling yourself and say, look, I have existential guilt, so and throw your hand up in the air. No. I am saying, ask yourself some questions. Go through these steps, yes, and we don't finish, and I'm saying, pick yourself up, ask yourself these questions. Do I want to feel this way again? Do I want to subject myself to feeling defeated, dejected, and down? Do I want to allow people to embarrass me? Ask yourself some of these questions. And then after you ask the question, make the commitment that to the best of my ability, what am I going to do? This will never happen to me again. To the best of my ability. Watch me now going forward as of today, not tomorrow. Sometimes we're giving ourselves time to heal. And in the name of Jesus, boy, all 1 year. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. You're still in a pain and you're giving yourself time to heal. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just saying, maybe we're not doing something deliberate to help us to heal. That's the reason why we're not healing. Because we're not doing something deliberate to help us, to help with the process of healing. Ask yourself the questions and then make the commitment that to the best of your abilities, this is not going to me again. You will not get the chance to do this to me again. Me not going to feel this way about myself again. Me not going to allow people to embarrass me again. You make a commitment that you're going to do better. Remember, forget the mistake, remember the lesson. Remember this lesson. And of course, I think this is the last one. Treat yourself. Treat yourself, ladies and gentlemen, with your stamp of approval and the lesson you learn, a new you have emerged. Let this new person thrive, recognizing that they have a responsibility to do what? See themselves taking care of themselves. How? Emotionally, spiritually, and physically. God bless you, and thank you.
All right. Thank you. I have a comment, but let Mortimer go first.
Okay, this is like a reversal in grief. In the grief process, you allow time. In the guilt process, you work against time. You have to set the pace for recovery. You don't let, and I like what you mentioned earlier on, you don't let it last for too long. You must master it. You must take control, set a time frame and work within that because you really want to get back to your natural self. As on that grief, you have to allow the healing process to go to different stages and allow time for recovery.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks, Emil.
All right. So
we have something in the chat?
Huh?
No?
Oh, I haven't seen anything.
Oh,
awesome.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please forgive me.
So my thing is that sometimes I hear it, the hurt, the pain, the guilt, whatever it is, the feel it is so bad that, I can't get my hand around this. I don't know how I could ever forgive myself or how I could ever be forgiven for it. And where I go with it, I just look at the scriptures. I just look at a man like David, murderer, and, did he get by it? I'm looking at Peter, the man who was there beside Christ. And when them said, I don't know this man, what are you talking about? I don't know this. How, get past it. I'm looking at Saul before he became Paul. He actually was persecuted. I'm just saying to you, if these people can do those kinds of things, and we take up our Bible and we read Peter, I'm just saying to myself, what is it that I could do so that I can get to a place where I let it go? And you remember the scriptures tell us that I will remember them no more. If you repent, so if God can pure God, blameless God can look past things, what about me? And so those are some of the things that I think about, that yes, you did it wrong, yes, it might come up, but at some point in time, you have to put it in context and just make a decision. It's really a choice we're making. Do I want to hold on to this and have it impact me forever or for whatever period of time? Or do I want to take control and decide? Work on your plan. I love the plan that you have outlined. And by the way, anybody who wants to see it, you can go to YouTube, Simply Christians JA, right? Simply Christians, there's a Simply Christian JA, right? So it's Simply Christians with the S, JA, and you can actually go through it. I would strongly recommend that we go back over it, take some notes and make things happen. All right, that's my little take. Anybody else wants to comment before we kind of wrap up?
Just want to thank you guys for putting it on. Really, really encouraging and a lot of gems.
Nice. Hand raised.
Yes, I would like to say thanks to for this very informative session and uplifting session. And for me, it's the guilt is wrapped up in other emotions, and ego and pride and everything plays a part in really how you feel, because sometimes you blame yourself for allowing certain things to happen. So you end up feeling even more so guilty. You feel guilty because of your reaction, but you feel guilty for allowing people to treat you the way you were treated, considering you know better. So I mean, it's a whole lot of things and a whole lot of dynamics at play sometimes.
Yeah, I want to share something. Brother Andre won't say anything about it, but these sessions clearly, it's like a little over an hour. We're talking. We can actually go into depth about certain issues. So there might be. We're not saying that this is a be all and end all. It might be that other work needs to be done. Other discussions need to be had with a professional. He won't talk to you about that, but Brother Andre is, as you say, is a counseling psychologist. It might be that individuals who have issues might need to, reach out outside of this forum. Right?
I think I have already messaged him because
Okay.
I know where my head is at and I know what needs to be done. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right. So thank you. Let me just do some housekeeping. All right. Again, this session is brought to you compliments of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. I have indicated that you can get all of this content plus sermons, Bible class at Simply Christians JA on YouTube, or you can go to our website, standrewchurchofchrist.org/media. We worship at 77 Radius Road, and we worship at 9 a.m. On Sundays. We have a Bible class immediately after worship, and we also have a midweek Bible class. All of these sessions are available at this very same Zoom link, so you can join in online. We actually are having some really interesting Bible studies. You might want to also join this week, where on Sunday we'll be looking at self-improvement, and on Tuesday we're starting a series on transformation, renewal of the mind. So all of that is available to you, and we just want to thank you very much. Nav Life, the Navigating Life series, we do them first and third Saturdays at 6:30 using the same link. So this link is common across all the activities that we do, and the next session then will be on the first Saturday in August. Wow, year done. So thank you very much. Let me just share one thing from the heart. The participation tonight. I am really, touched and moved by the depth and the transparency and so on. And that's one of the benefits that what makes the Nav Life series better is that it works when people can come with their pain, their challenges, or their insights and put it on the table. So we're not here to bash anybody over the head to do anything. We're just saying, come. We want to look at issues that people have in terms of navigating through life, and we try to provide some answers to them. And so I want to thank you. If you have got benefit from it, please share the link. Next first Saturday in August, 6:30, we're here again. And Brother Andre, as usual, wonderful stuff.
Thank you. And thank all of our participants.
We try to start on time and to end on time. So unless there is somebody has another issue, matter that they want to raise, I want to thank you for your time, and may God bless you. We love to see you in worship tomorrow, or if you could join our Bible studies, that would be great. Thanks, and have a good evening.